Lemons and fresh thyme are often thought as a classic combination in savory dishes, but in this dish, I'm making it sweet. We're going for dessert here with this tangy thyme tart. Oh my goodness, doesn't that look like summertime on a plate? Well, let's get started on how to make the crust. It's a combination of almond flour, sugar, fresh thyme leaves, baking soda, salt, and then you add your melted butter just a little bit at a time until it gets moist and will stick to the side of the bowl when you press it with the spoon. I prepare my baking pan by both greasing it and I parchment line it just to be absolutely sure that nothing is gonna stick. And then I pour in that crust mixture and using my hands just press it along the bottoms and about an inch up the side. This is a rustic crust and it's a pretty forgiving recipe, so you don't have to worry about overworking the dough and making it tough. It's gonna turn out great. Just get it in there and then pop it in the oven and look at how beautiful it is when it's pre-baked. You can even see all of those little bits of the fresh thyme that have been baked into the crust. I love the taste of thyme, but it's one of my least favorite herbs to try to prepare for a dish because if you have to strip off those little tiny leaves, it's super time consuming. And of course, if you've never dealt with these before, you just want to go backward along the stem and then that pulls off the little leaves. But it does take some extra time. In this case, I have tried using dried thyme and it just doesn't taste as good. And so I definitely recommend taking that extra time to take the thyme leaves off the stems and put it into the crust. It's worth it. All right, I'll stop playing around with the homophones and let's move on to this lemony filling. Now, I don't like to temper eggs, so I've come up with a new way to create this lemon curd. What I do is I start with the eggs and the sugar, beating them until they become pale yellow, but I keep it in the saucepan off of the heat. And then next, I'm going to add in that lemon juice and cornstarch mixture, but I keep it off the stove. I just get it combined really well. And now it's time to move that pan to the stove. Over a low heat, you want to make sure to keep that mixture moving and continuously scrape the bottom and the sides of the pan. After about 10 minutes, you're going to notice it turns into a deeper yellow color. It starts to thicken and smell like fresh lemons, and you'll notice it coats the back of your spoon. At that point, take it off of the heat, add your butter, and then pour it into your pre-baked crust. Now it goes back in the oven for another 10 minutes, and when it comes out, it's still going to be a little jiggly in the center, but don't worry, it's going to firm up just fine once it has some time in the fridge. So once your tart chills thoroughly in the refrigerator, it firms up nicely and you can see it cuts perfectly. So you get these gorgeous layers here and you can see in that almond crust, those little pieces of herbs that have gotten baked in and the back of it nice and perfectly brown. So it's crisp, but still tender. And then you've got that lemony filling. Really a special dessert. You'll find this tangy thyme tart recipe and many more at homewithshay.com. Shay Ryan, ABC Action News.